Good morning, children. You can see the name of lesson, The Treasure Within. This lesson has been taken from your book. It so happened that is your supplementary reader. Dear children, just you have finished the lesson, The Summit Within. Yes, the Major HPS Ahluwalia had discussed his climb on Mount Everest in that lesson. But he says there is an there is a other summit that is within us, that is the height of our character, our act, our etiquette. So such things are there about our personality. Yes. So these heights are there. We have to climb on the height which is there within us, dear children. The same thing is there with this lesson. The treasure within, the treasure is not there outside of you, that is there in you. You can recall a lesson, the shepherd's treasure. What had you seen? What was there in the chest, iron chest, on the box of the camel? It was an old blanket. Yes. And the shepherd told the king that this was his old friend and this is my treasure. That was a symbol of his honesty. How honest was he? And the king made him the governor of a bigger state or province to him. So, here we are going to talk about the treasure within. I would like to tell you one thing. Have you heard the story of Varadaraj, who was very poor in his studies in the beginning? One day, his guru told him to go to your home. You are unable to study in the ashram. You can remember when Varadaraj was returning from his ashram, means his school, to home, he saw a well in his way, and a line came in his mind, करत करत अभ्यास के जड़मति होत सुजान. Means by doing exercises, activities. Jadamati means an person who is foolish can be a knowledgeable person only by doing exercises, doing work in a positive mood. रसरी आवत जात ते सिल पर परत निशान. Rassi means rope, and which comes in and out of the well. It leaves a mark on the seal, means a stone. Yes, you can see the rope is very soft and a stone is very hard, but the rope leaves a marks on the stone. The same thing is there in this story. I think you are ready to study this lesson. Before you read, you see what has been given here. Every child is a potential achiever. Achiever is a learner and is different from other children in her his style of learning and area of interest. Read the interview that follows. It is based on a conversation between M.S. Bela Raja, editor of Spurs, a newsletter from the Resource Center. You should keep in your mind M.S. Bela Raja is the editor. What is the name of the newsletter? The Spurs. Yes. The Valley School, Bangalore, and Mr. Hafiz Contractor, one of India's leading architects who makes the drawing of a building are known as architects. Part 1. Hafiz Contractor was an unhappy schoolboy, like Bharat Raj. Yes. So he was an unhappy schoolboy, means he got very poor marks in his school. He did not, he did nothing in his classes. Yes. He loved doing things but detested mechanical learning. Means he hated mechanical learning. Mathematics gave him the shivers. Yes. Mathematics was very bad for him. What his principal once said to him influenced him deeply. Influence means impressed him deeply. HC, you see HC. HC means Hafiz contractor. I used to have this terrible nightmare. Terrible means fearful, nightmare means haunting fear or frightening dream. I used to have this terrible nightmare. Only now, over the last 4 to 5 years, it seems to have disappeared. BR. What is meaning of BR? BR means Bela Raja, the editor of Spurs. What is a Spurs? A Spurs is a newsletter. Okay. What nightmare are you talking about? Bela Raja asks. And why do you think it has disappeared now? Disappeared means became out of sight. Bela Raja asks to Hafiz contractor. Hafiz contractor says, I used to get continuous nightmares about appearing for a maths examination. Maths means mathematics examination, where I did not know anything. In the beginning, we have already discussed he was very poor in mathematics. Now the psych means mind or mentality must have gotten over it. I don't have to think about education, and there is absolutely no time to get nightmares. Bela Raja tells, tell us, Something about your earliest memories in school. Hafiz contractor says, in the first and second year, I was a good student. First and second year means class 1 and 2. I was a good student. After I reached the third standard, means class 3, I simply lost interest and I never studied. I used to be interested in games, running around, playing jokes, and pranks on others. Pranks means pieces of mischief on others. I would copy in class during exam times. Copy. What is, what do you say? Cheating. I would try to get hold of the examination paper that had been prepared and study it, as I could not remember things that had been taught to me in class. He says about his memories. Nothing was there in his mind which was taught to him in the class. However, later, one sentence spoken to me by my principal changed my life. When I approached my 11th standard, means 11th class, the principal called me and said, look here, son, I have been seeing you from day one, means first day in class 1. You are a good student, but you never studied. I have taken care of you till today. Now I can no longer take care of you, so you do it yourself. Because a child cannot live for a long time in the school because time is limited. He talked to me for 5 minutes. He said, you don't have. Your father, your mother has worked so hard. Means that time of his contractor's father had died and his mother worked for him. So the same thing is told by the headmaster or principal of the school. You don't have your father, your mother has worked so hard to bring you up. Do you know the meaning of bring up? Can we remember a lesson bringing up Kari? That is related to nourish. Bringing up Kari in class 7. Kari was an elephant, and how was he brought up by his mahout? Yes. So this is a phrase, you should remember this. So bring you up and paid all your fees all these years. But you have only played games. Now you should rise to the occasion and study. I used to be a very good sportsman. I had been the senior champion for so many years, and I also was the cricket captain. I used to play every game, but that year I did not step out onto the field. I would go for prayers, and all I would do was eat and study. I normally used to copy and pass, but I realized that once I was in SSC, I could not do that. When I got a second class, 50% in my SSC, my principal said, son, consider yourself as having got a distinction. What is distinction? That is an honor for a student. If a student gets 75% marks or more than 75% marks in a subject, it is called a distinction marks. So the same thing is told to Hafiz contractor by his principal. This is my memory of my school days. I did lot of other things. See, as far as my things are concerned, I cannot remember. I forget things very easily. To remember, I have to see things as a photograph. I read a book and I can remember the matter as a photograph, but not through my mind. That is how it works. BR means Bela Raja, the editor of Spurs. When you were in school and you were doing badly, did the teachers pull you up and how did you feel? Hafiz conductor. I never felt anything on being pulled up. I used to be so interested in playing. I would receive a caning every week. What is caning? Caning means punishment. The word cane is there, and caning is a kind of punishment or beating by cane, a stick of cane. BR, Bela Raja. When you knew that you had incurred the wrath of your teacher, what is wrath? Wrath of your teacher made your teacher furious or angry, very angry, by not doing your homework or by behaving badly. When you knew you would get a caning, what was the state of your mind? Hafiz contractor, state of mind. Just lift up the hand and they would cane you. It would hurt badly and then I would have to forget about it because I would want to go and play. Bela Raja. You never felt insecure? Insecure means opposite of secure, means not safe, or threatened, or warned. Hafiz conductor. I was just interested in playing and nothing else. I was most interested in funny pranks. One day, I did not want to study, so I created a distraction. What is distraction? Something amusing and pleasurable. For one whole hour, we played Chor Police. This is a game, perhaps you know about this game, Chor Police. Generally, children play this game. In this game, one child becomes a thief and hides himself, and others become policemen and try to find out the chore, means the thief. Every Saturday we were allowed to go into town to see a movie. So what I would do was have no lunch and collect money from 40, 50 students and run and buy the tickets. On my way back, I would eat to my heart's content. It means eat as much as I wanted, eat my fill. So he ate to his heart's content. I used to be the leader of a gang. How many people, how many students were there in the gang? 40 to 50. Yes, just you have seen. We would have gang fights and plan strategies. Strategy means methods of winning fights. These things used to interest me more than any academics. Students used to book my textbook for the following years because they were almost brand new. Why? Because Hafiz contractor never opened his books. So the books remained in new condition and every child was eager to purchase that book. Every child means the junior students wanted to take his book because they were new. I probably opened them one day before exams. So books were new. Dear children, now there are some questions of comprehension check. You have to do these questions. You can see what did Hafiz contractor have nightmares about? Can you answer now? I think you can answer, but I am unable to listen you. Some of them may not know. So you can say Hafiz contractor had nightmares about examination of mathematics. Very easy question. Question number two. What did the principal say to him which influenced him deeply? The principal said to Hafiz contractor to take care of himself, which influenced him deeply. Question number three. That year I did not step out onto the field. What was he busy doing that year? He was busy in preparation for examination. Question number four, part one. What distraction did Hafiz contractor create one day? You can say he created distraction for 1 whole hour for playing chore police. Second part of question number four. Would you have liked to participate in the distraction had you been with him? What do you think? Be very careful. Don't say no. Yes, you can say that I would have liked to participate in the distraction because I know children like this? This is very personal question, and you should never be dishonest to answer this question. So, dear children, we have enjoyed this lesson. Now, there is your duty to read this lesson again and again because this is very essential in language. We have to read the lesson again and again with understanding. If you read the lesson without understanding, it is useless. Yes. And if you have any kind of problem, you can listen this video. After all, if you have any kind of problem, you can directly talk to me on my telephone. It is available to you. I am always ready with you to answer your questions. Thank you, children. We shall discuss the lesson in our next period. Thank you, children. Thank you again.